All right, and we are back here once again. This is the next episode of A Conversation with Kely. As you guys know, we have been kind of behind in terms of Big Brother 23 content, but we are going to get back on track tonight. We're going to talk about the last 2 weeks of Big Brother 23. Of course, I'm here with Ali. How are you doing today?
I am fantastic. I just saw the Suicide Squad and I'm very excited. It was amazing and I'm just very hyped right now.
It's a great movie. My review of that's going to come eventually. Yeah. I don't know why.
I'm in the midst of writing my Letterboxd review, so I'll do that. I'll finish it after.
Yes. But anyway, we do have quite a few guests, more than normal, actually, because we got someone last minute. So we're going to start off. First one we have here, someone we've been trying to get for the past 4 weeks, but she kept falling asleep on us, but she stayed up, and we are so happy about it. Here she is, the wonderful Jenn Rudolph.
Not y'all calling me out for sleeping.
Honestly, Sleeping Beauty.
You're real here at a conversation with
Actually, Kelly. She's the real Sleeping Beauty.
Period. It's all about Jenn. Also, all right. So next person we have here is, so this person made a deal with us. He said, when a certain someone is evicted, you got to have me on. Well, that certain someone was evicted and we are going to hold up our end of the bargain. Here he is. Mike, I don't know how to spell his last name correctly. Wrong game, but...
Okay, well, I mean, he's wearing a Survivor buff and a Big Brother canvas.
Oh, wow. He's just like all over the place.
He's like, nah,
also,
that's me. Shout out to my girl Britini. Yes. First member of the jury. I don't have a rap better. Wee.
All right, so we're gonna tell you to stop doing that, so that doesn't go on any longer, and introduce our next guest, who we got at the last second because he really wanted to come on, and we were like, "Fuck it, why not?" Here he is, Matthew Papa.
King.
She's beauty, she's Grace, and she's ready to kick some face.
and he's also promoting Fearless Taylor's version.
Stream Red 2, Taylor's version.
Yes. But before we start things off, I like to do this with all of our guests. We're just gonna go around and give us your brief thoughts on this season so far. What are you guys thinking? Do you like it? All that kind of stuff.
I guess I'll go first. I'm like waiting for someone else to go. I really enjoy this season. I don't know. I feel like I don't typically like seasons that start in teams, but this season really changed that, just the whole dynamic of it all. And with the past few seasons that we've seen, this is definitely a big increase.
Oh yeah.
I think it's you, Jenn. I'm really liking this season. I think that it's awesome the way that the teams were, and I think it added such a good dynamic as opposed to the way that teams have been shown in the past. And it's really, I think it's, this game is really showing that people are here to play, and everyone's really turning it out. So it's really anyone can win at this point. It's so crazy. It's so good. Best season we've had in a while.
Definitely. Oh, yeah. I know Mike can't talk right now, but I think he's gesturing that he's a fan, and that's wonderful. So we're just gonna get into it. We're gonna start.
Hold up. I can talk now. Okay. But yeah, I have fallen behind a few times this season, but I did have the initiative to catch up throughout, unlike last year, where I had no desire to watch that show.
I didn't even watch.
but so far, cast has been fantastic.
Yes.
The boot list has been fantastic. I've heard Brittany was robbed.
Oh.
I will fight that.
Yeah, definitely. But all right, we're gonna get started. We're gonna go back in time a couple weeks. It's before the jury. The teams have broken
up. For playing the time key.
Yeah, yeah. We're gonna restart the entire podcast. No, we're not gonna do that. We're gonna start off with Christian's week where he ended up going. But basically, we see the wall comp goes down. Claire falls pretty quickly, knowing that she's safe, and pretty quickly it comes down to Azah, Brittany, Alyssa, Tiffany, Xavier, and DX, and everyone except for Christian is worried that Alyssa is going to win, as well as Twitter. Everyone was freaking out that she was going to win this HOH, but she does end up falling, and eventually it comes down to two people. We have both people that start with X in this season. It's Derek X and it's Xavier. And DX does clinch the win here, and he's the new HOH this week, which I was very excited about. But at the same time, I do think we very much see this week that he really did not need this, and he probably should not have won it. But I was happy to see DX get some power here. He's definitely become, I think, one of everyone's favorites of this season, and I think he definitely proves why this week for sure. But as HOH, he's unsure what to really do at first, whether he wants to make an easy move or just turn on the Kings immediately. He's not really sure how he wants to go about that. So basically, he talks with Hannah and says that while he doesn't have a plan to put up Alyssa or Xavier, he's unsure if he really wants to take a shot at the Kings, especially when Xavier made it clear that he wanted them to stay safe. He made that pretty clear that like he was hoping that they could come to some sort of agreement. And I really liked his analogy where he's like, we're playing Big Brother, not Big Sandwiches or something like that, where it's like, I liked that a lot because, I mean, yeah, Xavier was asking for a lot here. And it's like, you know, obviously you want to keep yourself safe, but keeping your entire team safe as well, like, not really going to happen. So basically, we see Alyssa knows that she's in danger, so she does decide to make a deal with DX. And I do think she put in some good work here because she talks about how before she fell off the wall, she's hoping that, you know, she made this deal with him and she's hoping that this is going to keep her safe for the week. And basically also before the eviction, Sarah Beth went to Hannah, and it seems like she's kind of cleared the air between them for now. They don't trust each other 100%, but she does feel they've been able to smooth things over for now. Who knows how long that's going to last, but it seems to be working at least at this point. And Tiffany, meanwhile, is very unsure how to feel with Alyssa potentially being safe this week, since it jeopardizes her group of 11 that she really does want to get to jury. She's not sure how that's really going to play out for her. Also, Jenn, we have a shout out for you. I don't know who this is, but
I do.
Oh.
John Souza. No.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Shout out to John Souza. That's a king.
That is a king.
He is. All right.
It's on you.
All right. DX talks about how he's very highly considering going after Christian based on how many comps he has won and how big of a threat he is. And which is definitely smart for him because if he stays longer, he'll probably like win the game, sadly.
Sadly.
Well, not that he's a bad person or anything. He just
Sadly.
While he's talking to Tiffany and Hannah, Tiffany brings up the royal flush, which Hannah doesn't know about, and he's
Such
unsure.
a good moment.
Oh god, that was so great.
What's the royal flush?
He's like, what? He's unsure whether or not he wants to do 2 jokers or SB plus a joker. He knows that Christian will have to be backdoored if he wants to go through with this.
Yeah,
honestly,
and I do think that he ultimately made the best move in going for a Christian backdoor this week because, you know, Christian had that opportunity last week to potentially backdoor him. Obviously, he didn't go through with it, but I think DX knows that, like, he's not great with Christian, so I do think it was definitely the right move to target him this week.
I mean, I don't even hate Christian. Like, he's definitely one of the better people. Like, he's nice. I
like him more that he's out of the house, to be honest.
Yeah, same. Like, it's just like he probably would have like dominated the whole game if he stayed.
Yeah.
DX then awkwardly explains to Hannah what the royal flush is, which helped keep him from the block next week. He slightly lies to her, saying that Lions was only a 1-week thing, so they could make it through last week. Hannah asks Tiffany whose idea the royal flush was, if it was Christian or Alyssa's, because then it would make a lot more sense why she touched the block last week. Tiffany decides to downplay the alliance by saying it was just a cover for the cookout, which it kind of was.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, it kind of was, but I think she did a good job in, like, really, because they were trying to make that a legitimate alliance for a bit until the teams were split up. So I think, again, just really good move from Tiffany, you know, really trying to downplay the RF overall.
Yeah. DX talks to Xavier and makes it clear to him the deal he made was solely to protect him and not his team. Xavier doesn't understand why the Kings are even being considered when the royal flush is still intact.
Right.
He's so, like, for the teams.
Yeah, and I think that honestly, like, I hear people say Xavier's going to win. I think that's honestly what's going to fuck him over, is that he wants to continue playing a team game, and at some point it's like, he can't do both.
I mean, he could get there, and definitely he has a good shot to win, but, like, it's hard to say at this point.
Yeah.
Because I feel like a lot of them have a good shot at winning.
Oh, they do. They definitely do.
Which I like.
Yeah.
He talks to Sarah Beth, and she says she feels good with the queens and the kings and doesn't want to go up as a pawn this week. And after this conversation, he's unsure if putting her up is a good idea. He talks to Derek F., who tells him any member of the Kings is probably going to take a shot at him. And he asks if he'd be willing to be a pawn this week. And he says he's worried that someone would take advantage of it, but he wants a girl to go up as a pawn. He then asks Azah and Brittany the same question, both of whom also seem against the idea.
Yeah, I mean, we get less DF than we do in the next week, so there's that at least. But, like, still, every single piece of advice that Derek F gives, I just don't understand it, and this is one of them.
Through talking with Hannah, he realizes that him and Christian really are the biggest threats and targets at the moment. She also feels Sarah Beth needs to go up as a pawn, as she would be gunning for him sooner than Brittany would, which really is just a plan so Sarah Beth could potentially go home this week. However, DX still has some hesitation, considering she said she wouldn't take it well if she went on the block. He realizes he shouldn't really have won this HOH, and either way is making a huge move.
Yeah, definitely. I think, like I said, this was not ideal for him to win this HOH overall, especially with the way things play out.
Yeah. And then after struggling with many various decisions, DX does ultimately decide to nominate both Brittany and Sarah Beth, I feel like it is smart, because, like, he does want a backdoor, and that's definitely the best move, because Christian's such a comp beast.
Yeah. I know we haven't really had our guests chime in yet, but, like, thoughts on any of this?
I feel like with Derek X nominating Brittany and Sarah Beth, it was like, I understand he wanted the king to go, but, like, if he really wanted Sarah Beth to, like, feel good about like being a pawn, putting her up with Brittany was not the case, because if Veto genuinely, like, was not used, like, Sarah Beth was fucked, and I think she knew that.
Right.
So, like
Brittany was just, like, the ultimate pawn. Like, everyone always was using Brittany as a pawn. So, like, that's, if I was in Sarah Beth's position, I'd be like, shit.
I'd be like, I ain't no pawn right now, not next to Brittany.
I actually think Sarah Beth is, like, the player that surprised me the most.
She is, but she's starting to, I think, go downhill, like, for me.
Yeah, in some ways, but, like, I do like the villainous thing that she has, kind of.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, she's definitely playing hard, because I thought she would just be, like, just a social player who got along with everyone, but she's actually playing really hard, which I like.
Yeah. But that's everything that happened on the Sunday one. We're going to get into Wednesdays now, where we see Sarah Beth is very surprised that DX took a shot at Royal Flush right away, and she's hoping that she can survive this week, knowing, what's going on. Now, Brittany, we see once again, is just really frustrated, as she usually is, that she's on the block. She feels she has no one within the house, which she really doesn't at this point. And I've said it before, like, I really do think this is her own doing. Like, she should have taken the opportunity as a pawn to like try to bond with people, recognize the fact that like she's not in a great position, put herself in a better position, and she just hasn't taken that opportunity. So at this point, it's like, you know, your role in the game is to be a pawn, and I think she just you know, needed to recognize that at that point. But the Kings don't understand why DX made these nominations, and they're also really pissed off that the Jokers, by putting someone up from, he's also pissed off the Jokers by putting someone up from their team, and Alyssa feels that he has some kind of idea, like this can't be what he's planning to do. Christian also doesn't understand what he's really doing this week, and Sarah Beth says that she will pick Christian for Veto. However, she's unsure if they're really being honest with her and if this is really the case of what's going on. So she goes to Derek X to see where his head is at. And this was so funny. She sits there and she's just silent. Like, she's not saying anything. She's literally sitting there in silence, and she wants to do this until he breaks. And it seems to work because he makes it clear to her that she's not his target. Like, that's not the plan. And he tells her about the deal he made with Alyssa and Xavier. And he tells her that if he had nominated both Jokers, he would have then lost their entire team. She feels that they would have still been mad at that. And she doesn't know what would happen if she comes off the block, thinking that he'll just put up a Joker, which he makes it clear that's not what he's doing. He tells her that if she picks Christian and he wins Veto and he were to use it, he's going to put up Alyssa, and that he just can't have him play this week. That's the thing. He just can't have Christian play this week because, you know, that's going to ruin his entire plan. So she isn't against this plan, wants to do what he can to get off the block. And if it means betraying her team, she's fine with it because she wants to help her individual game. And this is the Sarah Beth that I really do like. I like the Sarah Beth that is playing for herself, that, you know, isn't afraid to make really dirty moves to help her game. I just don't think she's fully utilized that. I think this week she definitely does, but, you know, getting into other weeks of the season, I don't think she's fully utilized that. But this Sarah Beth in like full, you know, survival mode, I really do like a lot. And he talks to the rest of the Kings and successfully convinces them that SB is not his target and he just wants to target Brittany, which the thing is, like, that doesn't really make sense at this point. Like, why would he want to go for her? But somehow they got it. Somehow they did.
Sarah Beth talks to Alyssa and tries to convince her to use the veto on her, especially playing into the fact it is her birthday this week. I mean...
leaving a game on your birthday. I know nothing about that.
Oh my God.
Looks at BB Disney. Looks at
I do like that she's fighting hard, though.
True.
At the veto drawing, Alyssa, Claire, and Kyland are drawn to play along with SB, Brittany, and DX. SB sits in bed and does a creepy version of Row, Row, Row Your Boat, which is an instant highlight because she wants to, like, turn on her team.
Yeah. Yeah, that was so good. When she's doing row or row your boat, win the veto, earn the safety. It's so good. Like, if I had to pick, what were you gonna say?
It was like horror-esque. It was so creepy.
Oh no, yeah, it was. But like, she just again fully owning that villain role. I love it. Yeah. I really do love it. Like, Sarah Beth is the kind of villain that I think you need in this season, and moments like that are why I'm enjoying her as much as I am.
It's definitely one of the like big highlights of the season.
Oh yeah.
At the veto comp, the house guests have to do a bunch of exercising related challenges and then have to take a series of punishments as well as the veto. DX doesn't want to win as he wants SB to be saved by Kyland, ensuring a Christian backdoor can actually happen. After the first round, Claire starts off with the veto. During round 2, SB sadly loses and is given a cash reward.
Sadly.
It's on the notes. It's part of the notes. I was just reading what's there.
That is what I wrote. It is.
And she's given a cash reward or a cash reward of $5,000, which she can trade for veto. And for some reason, she keeps the cash, but I mean, it does make sense because it would get taken from her anyway.
I guess.
Thank you. That's what I was saying.
100% this. People are always like, oh, why did Sarah Beth take the money? She would have lost it anyway.
Yeah,
She took the veto, she would have lost it.
Because, like,
Literally.
I just don't understand. Like, if you are not number 1 or number 2, never take the veto. Always take the
yeah.
whole thing.
I'll take
Yeah.
the freaking trip, the money.
Yeah.
Shit.
Because you know the veto is going to get taken, especially if another nominee and the HOH are still left in the competition.
Yeah.
So it made so much sense. And honestly, when everyone's like, why did she do that? Like, I understand why she did it.
100%.
Oh, yeah. If she was like, if she won, then obviously take the veto.
Yeah, I mean, I guess from that perspective, it makes sense. I just like, I would have taken it.
Let's keep going with this veto comp now.
I don't know, Mike. Why would you be so excited about what happens during this veto comp?
You tell me. You took the notes.
I mean,
All
it's not
right.
me reading the notes, though. It's Allie.
So
You got the notes. You tell me.
It's true.
So as she takes the cash reward, Alyssa is some reason she's not thrilled about it. And then in the third round, Kyland is eliminated, and at first he's given a costume to wear, but takes the veto. On the fourth round, DX is eliminated and is given a costume to wear, but he takes the 5K from SB,
He takes the veto.
but instead he takes the veto.
Yeah, he was going to at first, but then he didn't want to.
Yeah.
do it.
Which I would have been like, okay, anyways, give me my 5K. I don't care if it's your birthday this week.
Yeah.
I want 5K too. Like,
Right. It comes down to Alyssa and Brittany, and on the fifth round, Alyssa is out. She's given a prize where she'll get to receive a phone call from a loved one.
Which
So-
we didn't even get to see. I was very surprised. I was like,
Yeah,
who's she
that
gonna
was
call?
weird. Yeah, that was so odd.
Yeah.
She's given
Go
a
on.
prize.
Go on.
Brittany received a punishment where she will have to unlock the toilet for someone, but after all the hard
And then
work,
what?
she decides to take the veto, winning her first competition of the season, which makes Mike super
Which
happy.
makes her the first woman to win a main competition. Sorry, Claire counts. But
Yes.
Brittany is the first woman to win one of the main competitions of Big Brother this season.
Yeah.
Which,
Very clean.
good week, fantastic week, icon, legend, the moment, period.
All right. Also, shout out to Tobin Bell because he's going to bed.
Shout out.
Well, shout out to
Oh,
Brittany for winning that veto.
shout out to
Yes.
Van.
Yes, definitely. I will say, as much as
Good
Brittany
for her.
is not my favorite, this was a really good moment for her, and especially because
Oh,
of
yeah.
what this really leads to, giving us a really spicy week. Because I feel like at this point, like if Brittany would have stayed on the block, it's like whoever would have been next to her would have gone. But with having SB still up there and knowing what DX is planning to do, it makes for a much more exciting week, I think, than anticipated.
For
But
you and me both.
oh yeah. So DX has to dress up as the Lord of the Retrine for like the next 24 hours. There will be a lock to the downstairs toilet. He'll have to be the one to like unlock it. We get this like humorous montage of him having to deal with it, and like that shit's crazy. I don't know what I'd do in that situation, just having to constantly unlock the bathroom. But DX decides
I
to
think that is exactly what you have to do. I don't think there's much of a choice there.
I don't know. But DX then, for some reason, tells Alyssa about this plan to backdoor Christian this week, and she's obviously annoyed to hear about this, tells him that if he does that, no one is going to trust him, and that there are other people that the Kings don't trust, and he's not one of them. And she goes right to Christian and tells about it. He's obviously pissed, especially knowing that he didn't even give him a chance to really fight for the veto, which, I mean, dude, you weren't picked. Like,
Mhm.
that's not his fault. You could have been picked.
He wishes it was a pick me. Wait, what?
I
do want to say
Xavier-
I don't know if it's in your notes, but Derek X kind of gamed that punishment with Hannah. Like
Oh, yeah, he did.
Hannah would like
Yeah.
use the bathroom, and that was their chance to like really strategize in game talk. I don't know if that was in your notes.
Yeah.
Probably. I'm gonna assume it was, because that was kind of impressive in my opinion.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no, I
yeah.
enjoyed, that was really cool how, like, she would just use that as a way to talk to him. I liked that a lot. But basically, We then see Chris. He then tells DX that if Xavier goes to him and basically confronts him on, and DX says that he has to do what's best for his personal game. Alyssa walks by and says it doesn't make sense for his game to do this. Xavier is also upset since he's trying to use Christian as a shield. And if this happens, he will absolutely take the shot at DX whenever he can, because he's not going to forgive him for this. And he tells DX that if he weren't to put Christian on the block, that he'd had a less incentive to put him on the block because he didn't take the opportunity to do it, which isn't a bad pitch. But basically, SB comes in and acts like she's in denial about what's going on. Again, just really owning that role of like her knowing, but like acting like that's not the case. And she's hoping DX sticks to his word. After all of this chaos, we see DX is very unsure about whether or not he really wants to go through with this plan. We see the veto ceremony seems like it's about to start, but before it does, Christian wants to find DX. And basically he tells him that he needs to start thinking about jury management, and that if he takes him out, he's losing some votes for sure, and that he has to understand if he takes him out, he's the next person to target, and it's an easier decision to do Derek F. And I mean, look, I want Derek F out like as much as the next person, but like getting Christian out and putting Christian and SB on the block, it's like the most spiciest outcome possible. But he talks about how their games are very similar. They need to stick together since he can't play next week. And DX realizes that there's a lot on the line with going through this move. And we end the episode without seeing the fucking veto ceremony, which was so weird. I was like, I feel like it's pretty obvious what he's going to do here. But for some reason, we don't get to see it until the next
casuals.
episode.
It's not obvious. Like
The casuals.
they're on the edge of their seat. They're like, oh my God, is our boy Christian about to convince him not to put him up? Like
That's right, besties. I got 2 episodes with Brittany with a veto. Get fucked, live feedsters. Sorry about it.
It's true. But let's talk about Thursday, because it's there's a lot to discuss.
All right, the veto meeting goes down, and obviously Brittany uses the veto on herself. And after thinking carefully about what to do, DX does decide to ultimately take the shot and backdoor Christian.
Which, I mean, no shit.
that standing ovation is for Brittany using the veto on herself. Just saying.
Yes.
Christian understands the move, but is confident he can get the 5 votes he needs to stay. He goes to DX and brings up good reasons as to why SB should go, and that she's playing everyone. He feels she's one of the main reasons he's on the block this week.
Yeah, and I will say, like, even though Christian, I think overall just didn't play a very strong game, I did really appreciate how he was fighting up till the very last second, really doing anything he can to survive. It's like, that's what you should do when you're a pawn. You shouldn't ever give up. You shouldn't ever get the sense that you're going, because there's always scenarios in which you can try to flip the vote. And I like that Christian at least, you know, tried to change things here.
He tells DX that he would be a shield, and that if he were to keep him, they can get past this and work closely with him and Xavier.
Which, again, does not make sense for Derek X, but okay.
Claire is told to go into the diary room and has to now wear a costume that is essentially just a playing card known as the Duke of the Deck.
She was the card Viver mascot.
Yep. Where's Josh Duolingo at? Shout out.
Shout out to Duolingo.
Period.
How about that? Easy vote, Kev.
Anyway,
she also has to do a 5-card pickup of all by herself when entertainment is demanded.
Wait, a 5?
And that's all we get at Claire for the week.
Yeah, we don't get that much from her.
Sorry about it.
It's actually a 52 card pickup, not a 5
I was about to say, do you mean 52?
Okay, I typed this really fast, like after she said that.
Yeah.
And you still didn't think to fill it, to ad-lib it, really?
I mean, no.
Let's just call it 5-card pickup now.
No,
Yeah, it's 5 cards.
because what's the point?
She just picked up 5 cards. You know?
Yeah, I was gonna say throw 5 cards. Like,
Right?
That's it. I don't know what you're upset about.
Just kidding. Moving on. Anyway, Kyland has also received a punishment where he has to dress up as a jackass for a whole week. and has to make club sandwiches for everyone in the house when it's demanded.
Kind of foreshadowing his HOH week, but we'll get into that.
Oh,
Jackass 4 coming out this fall.
It's true.
Yeah, I actually saw
on video. This is not my October movie preview. That's a different video.
I'm glad you said October because I forgot what day it was coming out.
Yes.
Tiffany talks to Christian and she's surprised he's on the block, but he felt her and Claire have already determined they're voting for him to go based on how she gave him a hug, which she said was out of sadness. That he was up and she knows he's not coming after her. He tells her she and Claire are the swing votes this week if he can get the two of them. And Brittany and Derek F. He's guaranteed to stay. He feels he's a shield for her. And she's disheartened to see that he's so confident in getting votes since it's obvious people are misleading him.
Yeah, and this is where things get really interesting because, for a while it seemed like Christian was going. That's the way things are going to play out. And then all of a sudden, this flip happens. And I know this was a very controversial move by a lot of people, but what do you guys think? Do you think it was a good move for Tiffany to maybe want to keep Christian around? What are we thinking?
Don't think it mattered.
Honestly, looking at it, I think Tiffany knows with the cookout, the cookout men are obviously closer than they are with the cookout women. And I think Christian was more towards the side of Tiffany, Hannah, Alyssa and them. So I feel like if she could get rid of Kyland's number one with also keeping someone that could potentially keep her safe and she knew that would keep her safe, it was smart on her end.
Yeah, definitely. I do think that for her own individual game, it was definitely smart for her, but we'll talk about what happens because she goes to Brittany and Azah and says that she doesn't like how Christian is putting her in this position, especially if the two of them are really not keeping him this week and they're just kind of bullshitting him. And Derek F comes in and basically she lets him know what's going on. And she says that she will let him know that he is not the swing vote this week. And Brittany says that she likes Christian more than SB, but is unsure where her vote is really going, which I don't understand why she didn't just fucking vote out SB then. Because at this point, and I don't think Brittany ever realized this, she's really the swing vote here. She's the one who's going to determine where this vote goes. And I don't think at any point she recognized that power. So that's another thing that unfortunately, I just don't think she played very well.
What an icon.
Oh yeah, now recognizing your power, very, very iconic behavior. But
Brittany's the most iconic house guest of the season. What do you mean?
Oh yeah, for sure. Everyone.
She had that house pressed. I don't care what you think. I don't care how inaccurate my statement is. She was living rent free in everybody's heads because she's just so fucking iconic.
I don't know if that's the reason, but basically she.
I said so.
Okay. Derek F goes to Azah and says that he doesn't want to work with Tiffany anymore. Just flat out doesn't want to work with her. And this is, again, what I don't understand about Derek F. He's supposed to be working with the cookout. He knows the mission that they all have. All of a sudden, he just wants to discard her, and he plans to leave the Cookout Alliance. He doesn't like the way she's bossing people around, telling others what to do this week. And Azah's telling him to try to hold it together, but it seems like he's just annoyed with how Tiffany's really playing. And basically, she goes to Christian, lets him know that he needs 3 votes to stay, and the Jokers are not being honest with him and where they are voting. And if she was a swing vote for him to stay, she would keep him. And she tells him that Derek F and Brittany are constantly flip-flopping. And I think that's very emblematic of their gameplay overall. Just in general, they're just not very consistent in terms of what they're doing. They're constantly changing their games on a dime. And she then realizes, though, that them keeping Christian is actually a little bit more beneficial to her than keeping SB. And she tells him that she's very conflicted and he has actually given her a lot to think about. So she decides to go to Xavier and says that she feels if she pushes hard enough, she can actually get Christian to stay. And they both agree that Christian is someone they can take out next week, which I didn't really understand that argument because it's how do you know you're going to be able to take him out next week? He can win the HOH, he can win the veto. I don't really like that argument that much. I think there are much stronger points, but basically she wants SB to go. If they can get Alyssa, Claire, and Brittany to vote their way, this may actually work. So she talks to Claire about it and says that it's actually beneficial if he stays because they will be at the bottom of the other side if they vote for him to go. And Claire says that she doesn't really trust Kyland or SB, and the people that they have worked with for the longest time, they don't trust, and they might just have to flip the vote because of that. So again, we see Claire just doing what Tiffany wants. That's her entire game at this point. She just agrees with Tiffany with literally everything. I saw oh, Papa left. All right. I did see a tweet that was really funny, and it was like Claire.
Shout out to Papa. He said his streamer was just lagging, so
yeah, he'll be back. No,
well,
I was
gonna.
Yeah, I did see a tweet, and it was like Claire disagreeing with something that Tiffany said. She gets the sense Tiffany is disagreeing and immediately just like agrees with her and backtracks everything she said. So that pretty much tells you like where Claire is at in this game. Love her. She's very entertaining, but like game wise, not doing it for me. But basically with Claire on board, all they have left is your favorite, Mike. They just need to get Brittany to vote with them. And Christian tells Brittany that Tiffany wants to see her, and this makes Azah and Derek F also want to go see her. And this is where things get a little crazy. So Derek F says that he doesn't like when someone tries to manipulate other people. He goes into the room and asks if she's talking to her or if he's going to be her and Claire, and the Jokers come in saying that they should be able to speak freely. And what did you guys think of this whole thing, the way that Derek F handled all this? Because I know, again, for some reason people were divided on this, but what did you guys think?
Don't care. Brittany won veto.
I don't know. I'm Team Tiffany, so
oh, yeah.
I'm like very biased to
Same.
towards Tiffany. So anything against her, I'm like, he was coming at her for why?
Yeah, no, I'm kind of with you too, where it's like, I don't think that Tiffany really did anything wrong here. I think she was doing something for her own individual game. I don't understand why Derek F felt he needed to be like this bodyguard to Brittany. It feels like he's trying to like, he has all the information. He knows everything that's going on, but he has a bad read on things already. It's like,
I'm going to say that Derek F is probably the most disappointing of the season.
Absolutely. I think Jen regrets drafting him for our for our thing that we did.
I didn't even do a draft.
Yeah.
Which one of you has Brittany?
I think I did.
Can I have her? Can I join your draft just to have her and only her?
I don't think that's how that works, but
I don't think I asked.
Fantasy BB one.
Oh, one of those. Can I still have Brittany?
The ones I still have are Alyssa, Claire, and Sarah Beth.
So she basically decides to talk to Hannah and Xavier, and she's very frustrated with Derek F and Azah because the way that they were acting, basically like Brittany's bodyguards, and she's not wrong. It's like, you know, Brittany needed like someone to look out for her. It's like, I don't understand that, but basically Hannah and Xavier hate the fact that they are yelling.
This is how you see it. But how I see it is, I think that's my favorite alliance of the game. Mm-hmm. And can I join it?
So Hannah and Xavier hate the fact that they're yelling at each other when they have a mission to stay together as a six. And I really did not like the way this was edited. It very much felt like they were trying to make it seem like there's all these cracks in the cookout. And yes, there are, but like, I think at the end of the day, like they know their mission, they know what they're trying to do. They're all trying to make it there together. So I just don't really like the fact that CBS is editing it like they can't work together, because I mean, really it's just Derek F being a dumbass. Like that's really what it is.
Yeah. And getting into the eviction,
which there was a lot riding on this. I really like it was flipping back and forth constantly.
Right? Yeah. It was honestly like the craziest week so far. So after 24 hours of flipping back and forth between the two nominees, it seems that ultimately Christian's campaigning didn't quite work, and he is evicted by a vote of 7-2, where only Xavier and Alyssa kept him. And he's
I sadly to evoke Christian.
Oh my god!
Oh god!
Don't get me started. I just like.
I can't with that.
How does Derek F think he has any power in the game when he doesn't even know how to vote?
I think it's funny.
Oh, I do
it
too.
It's funny. So Christian is the last pre-juror, and when he leaves, he kisses Alyssa, which is very awkward because apparently she doesn't even like him.
I mean, yeah, apparently she calls him her girly girl, and that should be an indication that, like, this is not what you think it is.
She's like, nah, I was just using him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. Who knows if they're going to even date after the season?
I don't see it happening.
I'm gonna say probably not.
Yeah, I don't see
Probably
it in the cards at all. It's not even like, will they make it a Thanksgiving? It's like, will they make it
She was
past,
probably just,
his eviction?
Yeah, she was probably just using her flirtiness to her advantage.
Oh yeah.
In his interview, he brings up how he hopes him and Alyssa can continue their relationship, but also he can't be shocked he left because of his comp record, which Julie says is the main reason he was targeted. He respects the move, but feels that DX isn't going to stick around much longer because of it, and he says he came to make some good friends and to play the game, which he feels content with.
Which I really did enjoy this interview a lot. You can see that, you know, there was genuine passion that he had. He really did have a good experience. And that's the thing I will say about Christian is that I don't really think he played a great game. But outside of the house, I've really appreciated like his response to like the cookout and him getting outplayed. It's just like, that's how you should take it as a pre-juror. It's like, don't be mad at the fact when people say like, don't be mad at the fact you got outplayed. This is what they're talking about. It's like, this is the way to, I think, take it. He really took it in stride, recognized that it wasn't his season to win. And I very much respect Christian for it. I think I honestly like Christian more coming out of the house and hearing what he said, like after his time than in the house. And that's something I would not have expected to say, but I'm very happy the way that he's overall responded to everything.
Yeah, he's actually a very genuine person, which is good.
Oh yeah, which we need definitely, because I feel like we don't get that enough.
I do want to touch base on something.
Yes.
Okay.
Before and after Christian left the house, he acknowledged, well, before he left, he acknowledged that he was the last white man standing and he was also getting evicted pre-jury.
Yes.
And acknowledged that, like, hey, this cast is so diverse, I respect it. And was really cool about it. And then when he got out of the house, Christian put out a statement basically condemning the living shit out of most racist casual Big Brother fans that were like mad at Christian for not being as racist as they are.
Oh yeah.
Because
for
them, the cookout is a racist alliance because it's all POCs, but
God.
we're fine with 20 years of all white alliances now, aren't we?
Exactly. It's ridiculous. It honestly is ridiculous. It shows like who actually cares about this stuff and who's just kind of watching just because, you know, they like seeing people that look like them on the show and they like seeing people that are just as like selfish and racist as them on the show. So yeah, no, like I said, though, I really do appreciate Christian's response to everything. And I, you know, wish him the best. Definitely didn't play a great game, but seems like a really nice guy.
Oh yeah. And Julie then announces to the house guests the jury phase has officially started, which this is probably like one of the best juries ever.
Oh, absolutely. Everyone deserves it at this point.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, out of the people in jury, I don't dislike anyone, but my least favorite is DF.
Yeah. Not a fan.
But like, I don't hate anybody.
Yeah.
And all right. Oh, however, she announces that there's a new twist coming, and she says a new room will be opening up in the house known as the High Rollers Room. And in this room, there are 3 unique BB casino games along with 3 game-changing powers. Among them are the chances to take themselves off the block, win a second veto, or flip the ultimate power to their favor. And for the next 3 weeks, America is going to vote to give them the currency known as BB bucks. And the top 3 house guests with the most votes will each get $100, and then the next 3 will get 75, the rest get 50, and they can use the money to win different powers. And however, the better the power is, the more it will cost to play. They don't have to spend it, but they don't have to spend it if they don't want, but they can bank it further down the line. So what do you guys think on this twist?
I like it. I think it's interesting. It's kind of reminded me in a sort of, but not really, of like fire tokens in Survivor. Just, the currency aspect of it. But I think it's interesting, and it really you have to put strategy into it, because we end up seeing like later on, like, oh, like, do I want to use my coins or BB bucks this week, or do I want to save it for next week, and
Right.
So really interesting to see how that plays out.
Yeah, I mean, anytime a twist is announced at this stage of the game, I always just prepare for it to be absolute shit. And I will say, when this was first announced, I was like, oh God, no, because I'm hearing things like a coup d'etat. I'm hearing things like,
That's
a
the only
second
thing, is that
veto.
these powers are super powerful. So,
Yeah, and so immediately I think of like fucking Big Brother 19 with like the temptation, the Den of Temptation, or I think of like Big Brother 20 with the BB App Store. I'm like, I wasn't seeing a lot of difference, but when we get to the actual twist, I actually really do like it, and we'll get into why I like it, but I think there's a lot more of strategy behind it, and it's a lot more of like really kind of thinking through. I like that it's more of, it's very similar to, not exactly similar, but similar to Safety Suite last year, where it's like you don't have to do it, it's optional. I feel like that's the kind of twists they should do moving forward, or ones that aren't mandatory. It's not gifted to you. It's something that you really do have to like think, do I want this? And you also really have to fight in order to get it. And I want to see more twists like that. Also, we do not get the HOH in this episode. I will say that right now. We do not get the HOH because it was a very crowded week. But yeah, that's everything that happened within that first week. We're going to get into the first week of jury. Yes, let's go. We get to the first week of jury, where immediately, literally the second the episode starts, we see the HOH comp go down. And it's a song competition where the house guests have to correctly identify if the comp was described was an HOH, a wild card, or a veto. And very quickly, it seems like the only people eligible to win are in fact members of the cookout. And it comes down to Kyland and Tiffany. And this is where things get a little dicey, because it seems like the plan was that he was supposed to throw this to Azah or Tiffany. And for some reason, Kyland still does go for it and becomes the new HOH. And how do we really feel about this?
I would have preferred Tiffany.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for me, this was the moment where Kyland absolutely lost me in terms of Big Brother. Like,
me too.
I was really... What?
Oh, me too.
Yeah, no, like, I was really...
We'll get into that later.
Yeah, I was really liking him up to this point. I was really liking the way that he was playing the game. I thought he was in a really strong position. But, like, come on. Just because you were that worried that Sarah Beth was going to go up, it's like... What's more important here? The cookout, an alliance that's going to get you to the end, or Sarah Beth, a person that's going to get you to jury? Like, come on. Like,
yeah, he was like one of my top favorites, but this round he was like way too messy.
Yeah, and I mean, I know that you did bring up this point, Ali, that like Tiffany did get the question wrong. That's true.
Yeah.
My problem is more the Azah of it all, where it's like,
yeah,
he's supposed to give this to Azah, and he didn't even try.
Oh, yeah.
He literally answered it before her. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And understandably, we see she's very annoyed about this, especially since she really wanted the HOH and he was supposed to throw it to her. And Tiffany's also upset since she knows that Sarah Beth is now safe for the week, which is not at all what she wanted. She wants Sarah Beth out like as soon as possible. And she talks to Xavier, says that she isn't sure why he just constantly kept picking her. And it makes her even sadder that Brittany's going on the block and probably going home this week, especially with the bond that she's formed there. And again, I've talked about this before. Azah's just really just nice and very emotional player. And you can really see how that is starting to, I think, hurt her. I mean, it sucks that Brittany's going to go, but low key, she did it to herself. So it sucks, but that's just how it's going to have to go.
I'm going to argue that one.
Oh, I think she did. I think she definitely did.
She got backdoored because of America's vote. I don't see how that's her fault.
I mean, we don't know that. Not at this point, that wasn't the reasoning. At this point, it was because of the positioning that she was in and because of, I think, just how little connections that she had. Because at this point, she literally only had Azah and Derek F. So,
yeah. She didn't really make many connections.
Yeah.
Well, if we're talking back then, this is boring and predictable as shit. Next episode.
Yeah, but Derek F talks to Kyland about how him now being in power, he feels it's a good, and this is where I get really annoyed. They spend way too much time this fucking week between Derek F and Kyland and them just talking about the stupid shit where it's like, oh my God, a guy won HOH. Isn't it so great? We need to get a woman out. We're going to get outnumbered. And it's like, no, the women are just playing better than you. Like that's literally what's going on. Like the men are just not playing very well. I would say really the only men playing well are like DX and Xavier. Everyone else, no, not happening. But DF tells him that he's got to be really careful of SB because they are now the next Alyssa and Christian. And Kyland says that his 3 possible targets would be Claire, Alyssa, and Brittany. I like that he's very adamant about who he wants to target, but I think his biggest flaw this week is that he's not willing to back down from it. He doesn't want to listen to...
I mean, Claire does make sense too, because I just feel like she's not really playing for herself. She's literally just playing for Tiffany.
I also feel like, though, you can get Claire out at literally any point. Like, that's the thing. Claire is just not a threat at this point.
I saw so much potential in her, but she's just done, like, nothing. She won a wild card comp, and that's it.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate with the way that Claire's been playing. Again, she's really fun to watch. She's very entertaining, but game-wise, it's not there. It's not there at all.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
Because the cookout is here and the cookout is thriving.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
No, I agree. That's what's important. But it just sucks that Claire is not delivering in the way we want her to. But Tiffany tells Xavier that she really didn't want Kyland to win this HOH because it means that her target is not going this week. And she's also worried that she's going to lose Claire. And Xavier says that the plan for the cookout is becoming more difficult because of the other personal relationships they've built within the house. However, once again, they got to focus on the mission and they got to focus on continuing to make history. And Kyland then talks to Azah, and she does bring up why he picked her for the HOH comp. He says it was mainly due to her connection with both Brittany, and Azah brings up DF, and Kyland says that he wants to keep the cookout as hidden as possible. And, like, I get it that that's, like, their main mission, but, like, you know, not giving her any assurance. I think that's his real issue this week is that he does not give any clarity to really anyone. Like he makes it clear, like, okay, these are my targets. But whenever another option is presented, he just kind of shuts it down. And Kyland also feels that Azah is not a great communicator when it comes to conflict. And that's true. But I also feel that he should use that to his advantage because it's like he knows that Azah doesn't like conflict. I think he should have just been a lot less uptight about it because he's really trying to be this like master manipulator this week, and it's just really not it. Like I was not a fan of the way that Kyland handled a lot of his one-on-ones this week.
Yeah, I preferred how he was before. He was just like making connections with everyone and like being more chill.
Oh yeah, beforehand, like he was in such a strong position, but I think this week, honestly, he really botched it.
Yeah. Claire talks to Kyland, very unsure as to who he's going to target this week. She asks how he can help and that she will vote how he wants her to. She hopes he can go for a Joker or Xavier since he isn't close with anyone or any of them. he doesn't seem to feel good with those options, and Derek F tries to convince Kyland to put up Sarah and Beth as a pawn to keep the Jokers, which he's also for his team still.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't mean to turn on the Facebook. I was just looking at the comments.
This is not successful at all, as Kyland does decide to put up Claire and Derek F.
Yeah, which, I mean, it's not shocking, I guess, that he did that because, like, he made it pretty clear those were his only options. I just don't know if they were the right targets to go for. I think he should have just done, like, Claire and Alyssa to begin with. I don't think that... I mean, I guess I get the DF, like, volunteered to be a pawn. I get that, but it's, like, you know, not the smartest idea.
Yeah, DF shouldn't have done that either.
Yeah, no, that was really dumb. Again, just another thing that doesn't make sense with this game because, like, at this point, there are no pawns. Like, it's jury. There's no real pawns at this point.
Yeah. Azah is surprised by these noms, thinking she'd be targeted, and she also feels DF being up there isn't good for her either, since she has no idea where Kyland's head is at.
Yeah.
Claire is also worried that she could be the target. The house guests are informed that the high roller room has opened up, and they are given a few different options for the powers, and however, each power can only be played once. Since everyone only has 50 this week, the only one optional to compete in this week is called Veto Derby, in which each player will bet on another house guest playing in the veto, and if they guess it right, they will win. But the rest of the episode is seeing what each of the house guests decide to do with their BB bucks.
And this is where I really like this twist because, like I said, it really is focusing on trying to strategize and really thinking through like whether or not you want this. So we're going to cycle through these pretty quickly because they do go through each individual house guest. Sarah Beth does earn $50, and she uses it all to play in Veto Derby. She just wastes it away, and she unlocks it so someone can use the second veto and can't use it moving forward, which I guess this made sense, but I don't really understand why she needed this. But Hannah then earns 75 BB bucks as she should, and she can't play. She doesn't play in the comp. She wants to bank it. Xavier also receives 75 and banks it. Brittany receives 100, but doesn't play in the comp. She does not play in this, and I think she definitely should have, especially with the way things played out. But Azah then receives 50. Alyssa receives 50. Kyland receives 50 and plays in the comp, wastes all of his money because he's just so desperate to get all the power this week. He has to play in it, which I didn't understand. But Claire and Tiffany, then we see they strategize a bit, and they both feel that they shouldn't play in this comp as it's not worth losing money over already. Tiffany does receive $75, and she plays in it anyway because she wants to save her and Claire. Very happy that Tiffany received the money because I voted for her. So DX does receive $100 and decides to bank it. DF receives 100 and does play in the Veto Derby, and Claire receives 50 and does play in the Veto Derby. So again, a lot of strategizing going on. And after everyone has made their decision, the house guests are then given their results. Kyland, Derek F, Claire, SB, they all now get to place their bets on who will win the veto this week. And I really like this a lot because there's a lot of luck that's involved in this. It's like if the person that you bet on didn't win the veto, that person could potentially go. Oh, I know Jenn, unfortunately, had to leave us, but very happy you were able to be on.
Yeah, so happy that she was on again. You've seen her on before, and it's just always a pleasure having her on.
Yes, I do want to quickly, I think I have, where's the fuck is her Twitter? It's somewhere. It's somewhere. Let me find it.
I would say hold off until the end if you're going to plug everybody, because Papa also asked them.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That being said, while I have the spotlight, I meant to vote for Brittany here, and I just didn't get to vote in time. I got distracted.
Oh, no.
Well, it's a good thing you didn't, considering why she was targeted this week.
Oh, get fucked. This is why I voted you out of Disney.
Not that.
This is why I voted you out of the XP, sir.
Not that.
Yeah, happy fucking birthday.
Don't remind me. That was a very sad day. But
well, happy birthday again.
Anyway, that's everything that goes down on Sunday. Let's get into Wednesday here.
All right. Brittany says she didn't play in the veto derby because she feels relatively good with Kyland this week, which you'll see. They've recently made a deal where they both agreed that they are each other's targets and that they can keep each other safe for the next 2 weeks.
And this is the part where I'm just like, oh, Brittany, so naive and so unsure of like where her positioning is in the house. Because again, I truly do think that if Brittany had made these connections, she would know he's bullshitting her. He's not being honest with what he's saying. But again, because she has so few connections remaining in the house, with just Azah and Derek F, you know, the second someone makes a deal, she just accepts that this is legit. She just accepts that this is, you know, what's actually going on. When I feel like Kyland already puts you on the block, you know, the antennas should have definitely gone up where it's like, I don't know about this. But right now, she felt fine. Definitely should have played in Veto Derby, though.
Oh,
Absolutely.
yeah. Oh, for sure. Derek F doesn't understand why Kyland played, and he said he needed to make sure it got used in order to eliminate the power next week if one of them is an HOH. He says he's unsure what he would do if he had to save someone. Claire is very much his target, but he's considering Alyssa and Brittany as well. DF talks to Azah and Brittany and acts like he's the target in an effort to make them feel safe, when in reality he is just a pawn.
Yeah.
This confuses Azah quite a bit, especially with how Kyland has handled this week. She doesn't feel secure with him.
Once again, just too much fucking DF and Kyland. Like, I literally was like on the verge of falling asleep because there was so much just DF and Kyland talking. And most of it is just because DF has a crush on Kyland. And I'm just like, I don't give a fuck about any of this.
Tiffany talks to Kyland about the possibility of a backdoor, and Kyland makes it clear he doesn't plan to change his targets this week. And he explains to her why he's targeting her so much.
And again, like, just Kyland, just give her a second to, like, give you any alternatives here. He just shuts down anything that's presented.
Go back to being chill.
Yeah, that was absolutely his fatal flaw this week. He really wanted to, like, play up like I'm controlling everything. I'm the dominant HOH. And it's like, I think what really worked last time is like he just did what people told him to do.
He had HOH-itis.
Yeah, no, definitely. He absolutely like just had too much control this week, and it doesn't stop here, you know, but that's for another video.
Tiffany is outraged by Claire saying her target's allowed.
Yeah.
And she attempts to dig her out of a hole by saying Claire isn't going to work with people who aren't beneficial for her, but it seems Kyland is already made up.
Yeah, I will say Claire definitely fucked up there. Like, you should never say your target's allowed to someone that you don't trust. Like, and especially, like, from my perspective, like, unless I feel really fucking good with you, I'm just not going to tell you who I'm targeting. I'm not going to say, like, oh, like, let's say, you know, I'm going for Mike, but I'm not going to tell, you know, I don't want someone to know.
Again?
You know, Yeah, I'm coming for you. I'm sorry. I gotta break the news to you now. But I don't want to
again.
Period. Yes, it's happening again. But yeah, no. If I'm going for Mike and I don't want to,
Kevin 16th plays 0 minutes.
True. If I don't want to tell someone about it, you know, I'm only going to tell, like, say, Allie about it because she's my closest ally. But if I don't have any other allies I have in the game, if I don't feel good with them, you know, I'm not going to tell them I'm targeting Mike because they could be working with Mike for all I know, and that information could get back to him. So I really do think Claire did fuck up there and just openly be like, yeah, I'm targeting these people, because obviously that's
previously
not
on BB Disney.
But I do think that knowing that Tiffany is in the cookout with you and has your best interest, he definitely should have gone about this way differently than he did. It's just unfortunate the way that he, like I said, played this HOH. But the Veting drawing happens, and Derek X, Alyssa, and Azah.
The Veting drawing?
I said the veto drawing.
I heard Veting.
The Veting, yes. The Veting drawing happens, and Derek X, Alyssa, and Azah are all selected to play. It's now time for the house guests that are eligible to bet on who they really want to win this veto. So we see Kyland bets on Alyssa. Derek F bets on Brittany, Claire bets on Kyland, and Sarah Beth bets on Azah. Not a lot of thought put into this, and I feel like there doesn't really need to be. Like, you just need to really just think about who you think has the best chance of winning, and that's really all there is to say there. But we get to the veto, which is a classic. It is Otev. I was very happy to see.
Otev is honestly one of my favorite comps, so I love this one so much.
Oh, yeah, and Otev sounded like Arnold Schwarzenegger, which was kind of cool. That was very different from what we usually see, but we see Alyssa does end up winning this comp finally. She's gotten pretty close, and she actually wins this one.
It's definitely good that she won because like she's actually doing something.
Oh yeah,
Claire was so upset that Kyland was throwing it.
Yeah, no, he literally was trying to throw it to Alyssa so he'd win, which, I mean, not a bad strategy. That's definitely like what you should do if this twist is a thing. Like, you should just like try to make it so that person will win because he knows he can't win. Because that's the catch, of course, is that like if you don't if you do end up winning, that person, there's no second veto in play. So basically, Alyssa does end up winning, which also goes to Kyland since he correctly did bet on her. So now there's 2 vetoes in play. And then we see Claire is then told that her Duke of the Deck punishment has ended. Kyland's punishment is also over, which is
her
great.
Card Viber punishment.
Yeah, it's all done. But Kyland talks to SB and asks her what she would do if noms did stay the same. And she says that she would vote out Derek F. And honestly, cool. Get him out. I'm tired of seeing him on this episode. But if they were to change it, that she'd vote out Brittany. And she targeted them immediately during the HOH, never talked to her about it. So they feel that she has to go, considering that she just immediately went for Kyland and SB, which was a weird move, especially if Brittany had made that deal with Kyland. It is kind of weird to just upfront be like, yeah, I'm going for the 2 of you. But Kyland then does talk to Derek F because they want to bore me some more, I guess. They just want to make for the most boring television possible. So as of right now, his target is Brittany. And while he looks calm, he's very much stressed. He's hoping that he can get out of this because he needs Brittany to not go. It will especially hurt her to sit next to him. I don't know why he's stressing so much about this. Like, he doesn't really need Brittany at this point. He has the cookout. He's got other people on his side. I just don't understand why he was so pressed about like Brittany going on the block. It's like the teams are over. There's no reason to be stressed out. But again, I feel like that's just the Jokers in general. Like, they're just playing too much like they're still in teams. And I think it's going to probably fuck them all over in the end. But he's unsure whether or not he wants to tell Brittany about her getting backdoored. SB does decide to let her know, which enrages Brittany since he's already going back on their deal. She goes to talk to him about it and at first can't find him. She finds him. He says that there are other reasons for this and she doesn't understand it since she's been nothing but honest with him. But he feels this is the best move for his game. And once again, for some reason, we end the episode without a fucking veto ceremony. And I don't understand why at this point. Like, why didn't we get some form of a veto ceremony?
They're wasting time on the other stupid twist.
Oh, yeah, no, they're spending too much time on fucking
and
Derek
they're just like,
Kyland.
They're just like, yay, let's make it a cliffhanger. Like, what is this? What is this? A teen drama?
Yeah, I just didn't understand the need to.
Yes.
Basically.
Because especially like the first time, I get it. There was some doubt, but there was no doubt this time. Like, he was putting her on the block. I don't really understand why we needed this this cliffhanger, but we do get to Thursday's episode, which I know it's not Mike's favorite for sure.
I know. All right. Well, the veto meeting happens, and Kyland does use the veto on Claire. He does stick by his plan, and he puts Brittany up, and then Alyssa does not use her veto.
Yeah, which I think was pretty much what we expected. Alyssa not using her veto, fine. It's kind of like sums up her gameplay. She's not doing anything. She continues to not do anything.
Currently, the only person Alyssa's like really working with right now is Xavier.
Which is not really good for her either. It's really only good for him because like the second that she's in danger, he's probably not going to try to save her.
He's like good with almost everyone, and then she's just like, oh, no.
Yeah. I think that at this point, she's just surviving based on luck because the right people are winning and aren't trying to target her. But I don't see her lasting more than like 2 or 3 weeks at this point because she just has given me absolutely nothing.
Yeah. Claire, while happy she's off the block, she's also annoyed and confused why Kyland used it on her.
Yeah, which again, it didn't really make sense why he did that.
Well, he basically said that he didn't want to target her and he wanted to keep her safe.
Yeah.
Brittany is once again freaking out and crying about Kyland going back on their deal, which I do feel bad about, but I mean, she just.
But what?
She should have made better connections with some people.
Yeah.
Well, how good of a connection can she get when she's on the block every week?
She's not on the block every week. That's the thing, is that I don't think that's a good argument because there were weeks where she wasn't on the block and she had that time to like make those connections and she just didn't.
Mm-hmm.
So
I stand by it.
Yeah. I mean, I like Brittany.
Yeah, I don't.
Claire and Tiffany talk and really hope they can pitch to get DF out this week, which obviously Tiffany is against happening. Because I would, I mean, honestly, like if DF left, that'd be kind of iconic.
I mean, I would have loved for that to happen. And here's the thing, like, I really like all the strategy that Claire and DX put into trying to make this happen. I just think it's too late at this point. I think that they really should have tried to do this a lot earlier because at this point, it's like the positioning in the house is already against them. They needed to do this when it wasn't that way, when, you know, they had more people that they could have gotten on their side. There's no real opposition at the moment. And I think they really should have tried to they really should have tried to do this earlier. I do like the work they put in here, though.
Oh, yeah. Meanwhile, DX and Hannah are having a similar conversation and think that they need to get DF out. DX especially feels that Brittany would be more willing to take a shot at Kyland, SB, Xavier, or Alyssa. Hannah feels that though these are all great points, she's similar to Tiffany, has to shut down this plan because it is too
obviously
late.
because of the cookout. Yeah.
Claire and DX feel they can flip the vote onto DF along with Tiffany and Hannah, and that Brittany can be a great shield for them. This really makes Tiffany think that they might have to think about taking them out soon if they continue to take shots at the cookout.
Yeah. Yeah, and it sucks that that's probably what is going to end up happening at this point, but it's like, you know, the cookout's the goal. You got to focus, and I think it's good that they recognize that because when you have an alliance like that, you need to focus on that, and that has to take precedent over everything else. And I think that's kind of what Tiffany's doing at this point. It's like, I love Claire, you know, Claire's my best friend in the house, but I can't keep her around that much longer if she's going to be, you know, a detriment to my alliance. And what's more important at this point is that alliance. So,
oh, yeah. Tiffany talks to Xavier about it, and they both agree that while Claire and DX are both people that they adore, they are very smart players and will be the utter demise of the cookout if they stay in the game for too long. And Xavier feels he needs to gun hard for the next HOH.
Which we'll talk about if he does. But Xavier then tells Kyland that he doesn't feel DX is going to want the next HOH and that it's their mission to make him feel as comfortable as possible to throw this next competition. However, that will pretty much seal his fate in the game since he is, in fact, the next big target in their eyes. So you're really kind of seeing how him taking out Christian is backfiring. This is not going well for him. I don't think it needed to. I think there is a scenario in which this doesn't backfire for him. I really just think Kyland winning this HOH really lowered his chances, unfortunately. But DX does seem to buy into this, but Claire is doubtful that Xavier actually has his back here. So yeah, I mean, it does seem like they were able to convince him, but you know, there's only so they were able to convince him. I don't really know why he bought into it. But that is what ends up happening. But we then get to the next live eviction. Brittany does another rap as a campaign speech, as she usually does, I guess. And
I mean, her raps are pretty iconic.
And what about it?
I mean, they're all right, I guess. But Derek F just kind of shouts people out. That's all he does. And And while the vote flip was possible, unfortunately, it is not enough. And Brittany is evicted by a vote of 9-1. Only vote being Azah. Not surprised that.
I thought it was 7-1.
Was it?
I thought it was 7-1.
I might be wrong about. No, I don't think 11 people left. No, that makes sense. Yeah.
7-1.
Okay.
11, then 10, 9, 8.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, 7-1. Only vote being to keep her is Azah, which is not surprising. But
we have no choice but to stand Azah now.
Oh yeah.
I love Azah.
We get to her interview, and she brings up how she felt she had a really strong underdog story and could have beaten a lot of people at the end. I don't understand why they didn't just tell her the real reason why they evicted her, because what they don't show on the show is that the reason she was evicted is because of the BB Bucks and because they were threatened by how much of a favorite she was to America.
Which
they
is
were
stupid.
threatened by that. Yeah, I agree. It's a really dumb reason. Especially
she was taken out by something out of her control. Like
yeah. Oh, for sure.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a dumb reason to take someone out. But she talks about how she wanted to save her BB Bucks for the roulette wheel, and she felt Kyland was good with her, and she feels very betrayed by him. But she apparently also, which this was weird to me, they didn't show this on the show. She had two alliances with Tiffany and Claire. One was called the Silent Assassins, and one was called the Kingslayers. And like, when the fuck did this happen? Like, we didn't see anything about this.
It was probably just like. Yeah, I guess it was so silent they decided not to show it.
I guess, yeah. I guess they slayed the editors.
So silent you didn't hear about it.
Yeah, no,
Listen, there is no ounce of royalty on Big Brother US production. Do not at me on that. I still fucking hate them.
Oh, yeah. No, definitely. But she feels that the fact that someone like her was able to compete on the show is a delight in itself. And yeah, I mean, I'm very happy that she was able to, represent people like her. I think that's really great that she was able to get as far as she does. Again, I can't be impressed by her game. I think there's a lot of things that she very well could have done, and she just didn't make those. She just didn't make those connections. She didn't try to really dig herself out of that hole, because I think she very well could have. She just didn't really do much.
I am proud she won like a veto, and she made
Oh yeah, that's definitely impressive for sure. But anyone telling her that she was going to win at the end was absolutely bullshitting her, and it was just a cover up to really hide the reason why they did target her. And it's kind of disgusting.
If she was at the end, it would be tough.
You had to run. Now
she would really have to own her game.
If she's at the end, she loses unanimously. I think that's just kind of like.
I mean, unless she really tells her owns her game and tells a really good story.
My question is, what game? I don't really think she played a game. She was on the block almost every single week. The weeks that she wasn't on the block, she didn't really do much to save herself. She didn't make valuable connections. She didn't make any.
Who's talking in the background?
I don't know. Oh.
Or was that an echo?
No, that's his sister.
Oh, I thought somebody was watching something.
I thought so too at first.
Hi.
Sister. Hello. I hope you enjoy your unintentional cameo.
Welcome to the podcast.
Yes. But no, Mike, I know you are a fan of Brittany, so I am going to give you a chance to just weigh in and, give your thoughts on.
I can't see your face. Oh,
now defend Chloe's game, I dare you. That's controversial, but I've said for a while, I've compared the two. Like Chloe's 1984 game, Brittany's game in Big Brother. It felt similar to me. They were constantly nominated, constantly fighting for power. Obviously, I am also very pro Chloe, so don't take that the wrong way.
Pro Chloe.
But
Crowley. Hashtag Crowley.
But in the same token, I do see a lot of similarities, and I don't think you can defend one game and not the other. Is what I'm getting at.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Shut up. People are entitled to.
And I fully agree that if Brittany can get to the end,
Free Brittany.
She has the fight, she has the underdog story, and if she can pitch it the right way, she can win the game. Maybe not 9-0, but I'm sure she could get a 5-4 clutch. Yeah. If you ask me, like I did watch Brittany's game very closely as somebody who is also on the autism spectrum, and watching somebody who represented the neurodiverse community. The game of Big Brother is not easy for people like myself or like Brittany. So the fact that she had to fight as hard as she did, and still got to make it to the jury and is the first juror, I commend that.
Oh,
I do. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely something to commend there. I just don't really think she had the resume to win, and maybe she could have turned that around.
She could have built it.
She could have. She could have, definitely. I don't think that Kyland should have targeted her here. I definitely don't think he should have.
No.
No, not at all.
Yeah, I'm not, like, in no way am I saying that Kyland should have targeted her. I'm not that impressed by the game she played overall. She's very low on my list in terms of, like, who I wanted to win. But I do agree with you that there was a scenario in which she really could have. It's just if she continued playing the way that she was, I don't see it happening.
I do feel like the whole entire jury has a case to win. So, because I don't even know who's going to win at this point. It could be any of them.
Yeah, who knows?
There's 10 people left in the game. Of course, you're not going to know who wins.
Well, yeah, but I can't even predict the final two.
I disagree with you there, Mike, because I feel like in Big Brother there usually is like that one person that, like, oh, this person's gonna win. It's very obvious this person's gonna win. You're just kind of waiting for it to happen. Whereas this season, it's like, I think Tiffany's gonna win, but maybe Hannah can win. Maybe, Xavier can win. There's other possibilities for who could end up potentially winning the game. And I think I'm
gonna predict and hope I think it's unlikely, but I'm gonna predict right here on the spot that it's gonna be Xavier, Tiffany.
Mm-hmm. I can see it.
I think
that honestly could go either way.
I think it's gonna be Tiffany and Hannah. That's kind of what I'm thinking.
I don't know if Hannah's gonna make it, especially with losing Derek X this early.
Yeah, it's hard to say. I mean, I don't know if it's true, but I heard that Claire might be targeting Hannah.
Claire's been targeting Hannah for like 2 weeks.
Yeah, I don't know.
And honestly, from what I've heard, so has Sarah Beth.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Which is probably why Derek.
She's not as vocal anymore, but she's definitely on her target list.
Well, something that they didn't show in the actual episodes is that Hannah's the reason why they flipped it back to Christian. She was the one who was like, guys, what are we doing here? Christian needs to go.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah, it was really her that was kind of the deciding factor, and I wish they'd give her a little bit more credit there. But anyway, let's get back on track. Let's talk about the next HOH.
All right. It's now time for the new HOH, and the house guests have to walk across a balance beam in order to grab a seat for dinner, or at dinner. Some of the beams are wider than others, and they have to make it to their buzzer without falling off. And in 21 seconds, Sarah Beth absolutely crushes this competition and is the new HOH, and she's the first female HOH of the season. And also, Derek X was super close to winning. He was a second off from tying Sarah. And
if he doesn't fall, he wins there.
No. And then Alyssa was really close too. She fell right at the buzzer.
Yeah, she was. That comp's difficult because once Sarah Beth got the 20 seconds, nobody was gonna beat that.
Oh yeah, that's really impressive, and it's her winning HOH is pretty crazy. So this round's gonna be a shit show.
Obviously we can't get into spoilers of what's going down because we're going to do that next week, but SP winning the HOH, it's an interesting scenario. I didn't think that she would be the first female to win an HOH. I thought it was going to be Tiffany or Hannah or someone that.
I was actually thinking that Claire was going to win this HOH.
Yeah, I could have seen Claire winning it too. She absolutely needed to, just to get some agency. And
reading updates on Twitter and stuff.
Yeah,
a lot of people were thinking Claire was going to win.
Yeah, she had especially because like I said, she just doesn't have a lot of agency in this game of her own. Yeah. So that definitely would have turned things around.
Maybe if she wins an HOH, she'll actually prove herself. Hopefully,
it's definitely possible, But I mean, her winning this HOH, very interesting to see what happens. We already know what happens, but it's going to be interesting to see how it does play out. And that's it. We're all caught up now. We've gone through these 2 weeks. I know there was a lot to discuss, but I'm glad we were able to go through everything. But before we
finally got this done. We didn't fall behind too much.
Yes. Before we do, and that's what happens when you get fired from your job. Suddenly you get to catch up on things. But that's a whole other different discussion. But before we do close things out here, I'm going to give our guests, well, right now just a guest, but I'll give the other guests the floor as well. So Mike, go ahead.
I was about to say, have me go last. Do Papa and then Jenn, then close with me since I'm still here.
All right. Well, I do want to give shout outs to Papa. You should follow his Twitter at Identity Theft. It was great to have him on for the time that he was here. Unfortunately, the internet was working against him and he didn't get to stick around. So that really sucks. But we were happy to have you on, and hopefully we can get you on maybe next week or in one of the following weeks. We'll have to see what happens there. And very happy that we could finally get Jenn Rudolph on. Always appreciate when she is on this podcast and everything.
And she was on with Topher. She was on with Topher. Her and Topher were on for like the cast assessment, so it was great. Finally having her on to talk about the season, and it's just always great having her. And then Matthew's been on for like our org music videos. So
and we do want to make the announcement here that we are going to be starting whenever it comes out, both doing a draft for and also reviewing Ascendance Live, because it's something that we're all very excited for. I don't know how it's, if it's going to get any views or anything like that, but we're very excited to get to cover it. I hope that this is a very successful show. I know Papa and everyone over there has worked very hard on it, so I really hope it does end up delivering. So we're just going to go ahead and make that plug now. But anyway, our guests that stayed here for the entirety of the video, what do you want to say?
Shout out to Brittany.
Yes. She's definitely watching this in the Jerry house.
I wish.
She's gonna get the DVD. It's not gonna be of this season. It's just gonna be like our podcast.
Woo. No, if you guys want to follow me, I am on Twitter somewhat. On Instagram even less. My username is @WonderPuff16.
Yes.
And if you don't want to follow me, I don't blame you.
Not that.
Well, that being said, what it do, baby? I don't want that to be my catchphrase anymore. I'm announcing the retirement of what it do, baby. I'm sorry.
Damn.
I'm sorry to all my negative 5 fans.
Damn.
Very sad. When he's not here to talk about a house guest that blocked him, he's here to use another quote from a different Big Brother season. But always enjoy having you on for sure. Mm-hmm. But other than that, guys,
it was great having you back.
Again, with Brittany being with Brittany being evicted, I do want to give a shout out to the neurodiverse Big Brother fans out there. I can't speak for all of us, but I feel as though Brittany represented me at least pretty well as somebody who is autistic. I think she did fantastic. And honestly, she's kind of cute.
Aw.
I will proudly say that Brittany has been... I've been watching Big Brother for almost a decade, and I do want to say Brittany is the biggest Big Brother crush I've ever had.
Oh, wow.
I love that. Anyway.
Catch me on Big Brother Disney, though. Shout out.
Yes. Big Brother Disney. Love the game. Don't love the way some of the casts played the game, but love the game.
Like I said, you're always welcome on our podcast, and it was just a pleasure having you, and you're always iconic and entertaining. So
I do want to say, despite not being Ascendance alumni, I will probably be around for that. I've never watched a live LRG anything, and I am interested in having Ascendance be my first because I do have a lot of friends and stuff on the cast. This cast looks really good so far.
Oh yeah.
I would like to throw my hat in the ring for the draft whenever that may be.
Definitely.
sure.
We'll make that happen.
It was my idea.
That'd be fun.
And stay tuned for part 4 of our org music video reviews.
Yeah, who knows if we'll actually get it done, but I will.
Who knows? I will say there are new videos that were added to our Google Doc. Shout out to Seb for that.
Yes.
But I would like to request that if at least we wait for those 4 specific ones, we wait until the season's over.
Yeah,
I was review them.
Mm-hmm.
But that again, another plug. Tune into Big Brother Disney, Animal Kingdom. I'm there. Kevin was there.
I flopped. I did.
That's what you get for coming for a social player. I shouldn't say that out loud. Room limit social player of the season. Don't do it.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. Any of my fellow house guests watching this, don't ignore. Please ignore that. Sorry.
Anyway, we're gonna not expose your game and wrap this up. But that's it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. As always, comment down below. Let us know what you guys thought of either the weeks of Big Brother 23. We're going
don't
to try,
backdoor me.
We're gonna try to stay up to date and be a little bit more consistent than we have been. We will try to do that as best as we can. Also, guys, a lot of stuff starting up soon. Survivor and The Circle as well.
There's a Fox and the Hound too? No, I'm kidding.
And we are not reviewing The Fox and the Hound 2. Maybe at some point we will, but this
Stay
is not
tuned for the next episode of A Meeting with Mally, because she'll do it with me.
This is not a podcast about Disney directed.
Can we?
Maybe
at some point we can make that happen. But
Kely Disney Movie Club.
That'd be cool.
Yes.
Kely Disney Movie Club.
That's it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. We'll see you guys in my next video, and we'll see you guys for that. Okay, bye.
Bye.
Yeah, I'm like taking over here. Like